All right, and I have Lynn here with me today, too. So we're going to be talking about building safe and supportive homes for individuals with Prader-Willi syndrome. I'm really looking forward to this being kind of an interactive session as well. So we'll just go ahead and get started here. That picture there is just one of our lovely homes here on the Cape. All right, so just a quick session overview. So really understanding the PWS behaviors. I'm really exploring, how the behavioral characteristics impact their daily living skills. Looking at the environmental design of the houses, learning how thoughtful space planning supports our individuals with PWS and how we can thoughtfully look at these spaces to best reach their success and their full potential. Staffing and programming, which is an absolutely essential aspect here, discovering best practices for creating supportive care routines, for retention of staff, for training of staff, and just being able to support the staff in order to support the individuals that we're serving. And then some practical applications, applying evidence-based strategies that really empower our residents, their dignity, while also ensuring their safety is a very important piece. All right, so first, our core behavioral characteristics of PWS. Big one, hyperphagia, or food-seeking behaviors, leading to constant food seeking, potential of rapid weight loss, serious health complications. Our second here is that anxiety and rigidity. Predictable routines are essential. They have difficulty with transitions, heightened anxiety. I think we all kind of know these, so we're going to go through them super quick. Repetitive behavior, skin picking, perseveration on topics, collecting, hoarding tendencies. And then emotional regulations, really that challenge with the impulsivity, the emotional outbursts, difficulty reading social cues, and how that can be a difficult piece when living with other individuals. So the cognitive and the sensory aspects. So while we're also looking at these homes, we're really thinking of our individuals with PWS, really thinking of the theory of mind challenges that they have, understanding other perspectives, intentions, and feelings. And that really goes to the other individuals that are living in the house. And then what are the alternatives for those houses if it doesn't work out? The executive functioning disorder, planning, organization, the structure behind all of the routines, and everything that's put in place to ensure that the day-to-days function as they should. And then the sensory processing differences. So, looking at the home in general to make sure that it's sensory efficient for them. So the physical environment design is one of the key components of the residential home. The food security systems, locked kitchens are essential. Those go back to our food seeking behaviors. The pantries, refrigerators, making sure that all garbage disposal receptacles anywhere within the home are also locked up. Protocols for delivery services and visitors. So that is, food delivery services, Amazon packages, anything that you might get delivered to the house, to ensure that there's a protocol in place to make sure that there's no extra food or something that they shouldn't have inside of those. Safety features is another very important piece here. You want to make sure that you have durable materials resistant to picking, anything that they can get a hold of that may increase their ability to, get under their skin and then open up a wound. Minimize blind spots for supervision. It's really important when designing a house. 9 out of 10 times you're buying a house and you're trying to renovate this house. If you're designing it from the ground up, that's the perfect world where you can really, look at the blind spots and ensure that they aren't there, so that you're constantly being able to navigate where the individuals are at all times, while also allowing for private spaces, so that they have that time where they are able to be in their rooms, maybe a private dining room or a private living room where they're able to watch their shows, things like that. Some sensory considerations, ensuring that there's a calm color scheme kind of throughout the house. That helps with just their sensory processing piece of it, as well as sound management to reduce the anxiety. So if it's, chaotic, things are loud, TVs are loud, music is loud, that's going to increase their anxiety. And our goal is to reduce that anxiety. Also dedicated spaces for sensory regulation. We know that sensory is a huge piece here. So if there are dedicated spaces for them, that's essential. Another big piece to add to that is the health and wellness programming. Really working on nutrition planning, carefully calculated meal plans, especially for our individuals aging. It's super important that as we're navigating these meal plans, these menus, we're looking at ways to make sure that what they're eating is healthy, enjoyable, and that they're able to enjoy that process. With that, medical oversight is super important, making sure that regular monitoring of weight, skin integrity, mental health, sleep patterns. We use a lot of smart technology for things like that. There's ways that you can put, scales on the floor that automatically are checking their weight when they're brushing their teeth or checking their weight when they're washing their hands. So there's ways to do that kind of strategically. Stress reduction, teaching adaptive coping skills, deep breathing. Again, if you have that sensory space to utilize, making sure that you're also teaching these skills to the individuals to be able to use those spaces appropriately. Physical activity, ensuring that there's a daily exercise routine or a daily exercise program. That doesn't necessarily have to be big, equipment in the house, treadmills and bikes and things like that. It could be a simple, walk a day, but ensuring that that's in their daily schedule and routine. Social dynamics in group settings are a challenge for everybody. So the social contagion risk, individuals with PWS can be highly influenced by others' behaviors, which potentially could be lead to escalation of anxiety when witnessing distress, limitation of problematic behaviors, collaborative efforts to circumvent food security. So really what this when you're looking at the group home, you want to ensure that there's appropriate space for them to have their own space, and potentially not be near, some sort of trigger, some sort of social trigger with another individual. Also, the attention maintained behaviors. So things someone does mainly just to get them to notice them. That could be positive, that could be negative. Anything to reduce that social attention would be essential. So in the beginning, I said that I personally feel that staffing and programmatic is essential. It is important to have good staff, to maintain good staff, to have staff that want to be in that house, and feel that that house is also, partly theirs. Bringing their own vibe to that house is very important. We have 10 group homes, and I think every group home has a little bit of a different feel as you walk into it, just based on the individuals that are there, the managers, the direct professionals. So consistent staffing patterns help significantly to reduce that stress, to reduce that anxiety for individualized. It Specialized training is essential so that the individuals know that their staff are being trained, that they're up to date in their trainings, that they know exactly how to help them in time of need, but also for the staff to feel like they have an understanding and they can kind of overcome any obstacle that's happening. A lot of times their staff are 1-to-1, 2-to-1, small staff ratios. So giving them that feeling of that they're able to manage any kind of environment that they're in. And then again, structured daily schedules, things that are predictable, visual supports, anything throughout the house that can be visual will just help with those routines to be able to go right back to, the wall of here's our schedule for the day. Community integration and safety planning. So this is huge, I think, within the group home realm. They deserve meaningful community participation wherever their home resides. It's important for the neighbors to be aware of the individuals. It's important for the local businesses to be aware. It's really that education of what is PWS and what does that mean to my community. It's also education for the individuals, doing pre-visit environmental assessments to identify, does the local library, have a Tuesday bakery session, or, are they bringing in lollipops here or there? So being able to have that um, dedicated assessment prior. Appropriate staffing ratios in the environment or in any sort of community event that you're at. Clear communication with community partners about supportive approaches. Again, training not only the staff, but if possible, to train the community members, and so that they have a better understanding of our individuals. And gradual building of independence through skill development and practice. Just a quick success story here. There was a local museum that created a PWS friendly tour, so that, the education had happened with this museum, but they were able to create a PWS friendly tour that had no food court access, and it was scheduled during quieter times to reduce that overall stressful environment.